Hey, thanks for joining me today. Thank you so much for coming to watch this video. If you're a new video watcher or subscriber, then hi, thank you so much. I hope this will be a really useful video for all of you at home. So today it's not going to be a long video, it's going to be quite short, but I will keep this part short and let you know that it's going to be the Speedy tomato soup, which is quite a well-known recipe throughout the sort of Slim World groups. It's certainly one that I've never made before, but I'm really keen to try it. So it's meant to taste like Heinz tomato soup or tomato soup. Whether it does or not, I'm not quite sure yet, but I will make it and I will then find out the verdict at the very end. But there's not many ingredients in this recipe, and there aren't that many recipes online about it. When you type into Google or YouTube, there aren't that many that actually tell you how to make it. So I actually found out about this in group by my consultant. So basically all it is two tins of chopped Italian tomatoes. You are also going to add in 1 tin of baked beans. Now I'm just using this sort of as the Just Essentials beans, just because I bought them a week ago. I've not used them up, and I've got a brand new set of Branston beans, which I really love, but they're all packaged up and I've not opened them up yet, so I thought I might as well just use these. Again, they're cheap. You can make this as cheap as possible if you want. It also calls for a tin of sliced carrots, which I actually don't have. I don't have them in the house, but I do have fresh carrots, so I think I'll probably use maybe a sort of medium-sized carrot as well as a large. I'll need to slice them up obviously, so I'll see how many slices I get from the carrots, but it's probably going to be these two, so I'll just leave them aside. And the rest of the carrots are pretty small, but I'm thinking I could probably use them for another recipe, to be honest, before the bag is finished. So I'll just pop these to the side. Of course, if you do have tinned carrots, by all means use them, and the recipe does call for 1 tin, but obviously I'm using what I've got. I'm not going to go out to buy them otherwise. It's a bit of a unessential trip, shall we say. And I've also got pickled onions here. So these are brand new, they've not been opened yet. The recipe calls for, I think, 1 large pickled onion, or I think 4 or 5 small pickled onions. But to be honest, these are the sort of largest ones that I could get, and I'm going to probably use 2 because they're sort of medium-sized ones. I wouldn't say they're like the large pickled onions that you can get in like the chip shops, for example. So I think 2 should be okay. Excuse me. And I also have vegetable stock pots as well, so it does call for you to add in your vegetable stock. Now I do also have some salt and some pepper on the side. I've just sort of left it there just to make sure that if it does need a little bit of seasoning, then I can do that to my own taste. Certainly with regards to this recipe, it asks for you to add in half a pint of vegetable stock, so I've got the recipe here on my phone. But to be honest, I'll see how it goes. If I want to make it thicker, obviously I'll sort of monitor the stock levels and maybe boil off some of that steam just to sort of reduce it a little bit. Or if it needs some more stock, I will just add some extra hot boiling water in instead. So yeah, sorry, it was 6 small pickled onions or 1 large, and obviously, as I said, we'll use 2 today probably. And all it calls you to do is to basically cook it all together. Obviously I'll need to make sure that the carrots are soft before I blend things up, just because they are fresh, they're not cooked. But I'm going to be using this, so this is new. I just got it last week, to be honest. It wasn't something that I thought I needed, because I did have a blender before. I do have another blender, but it's not really made for soup. It's more for blending up, I would say, like juices and maybe making smoothies, whereas a stick blender like this is an essential for making soups and sauces. And I think it's a real big time saver on Slim World, certainly if you're doing meal preps and things as well. But what it does come with is a detachable end, which was really handy. The one I had before wasn't very good. It had a really low sort of power on it. I don't know if it was maybe just not working properly, or maybe maybe just wasn't a very good mixer, but myself and James, we certainly did spend a little bit more money on this. This is a Bosch Ergo mix, and to be honest, so far it's been really good. I have used it a few times. What you can do is you can use this as obviously like a sort of measurement jug as well, and you can use your sort of immersion or stick blender, whatever you want to call it, to sort of blend up fruits or sort of vegetables and things in this. Obviously you can pop it into something like a saucepan or you know, like a frying pan for whatever you're blending up at the time. But it's also got a separate attachment as well, which allows you to blend up or sort of chop up vegetables, which I don't have out at the moment because I don't need it, but really handy to have. And I think it just saves so much time and effort, especially if you're maybe needing a little bit of assistance with cutting up quite large or quite tough vegetables. So again, that's not something I've used yet, but it looks really good. So yeah, there's not much to see really in the way of what I'm going to be doing and put by things in the pan, but I will just bring you along on that little short journey with me so you can see exactly how it all goes in, if that's of interest to you, and then we will show you the end result at the end once it's all mixed and blended up. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. So all I'm going to do now is just chop up our carrots. So I have peeled these. There wasn't much to come off them really, but I will give them a little bit of a chop just to add into our pan. So we'll do that first. Because they're not cooked and the rest of the ingredients basically are, I'm going to sort of cut them finely if possible, just to make sure that they don't take too long to cook, as it might impair the flavour. Okay, so what I've done is I have just taken out one of the vegetable stock pots from our little pack, and it is the stock pot one, so to be honest, these are my favourite. I prefer using these rather than using the sort of stock cubes as such. I think these just melt a lot easier into whatever it is that you're cooking. So if I can, I'll open up this little plastic tub. They never make it easy. Of course, the little tab system, if you like, is never ever simple to open up, and of course it's not easy when you have gel nails, because I don't know if any of you guys at home have got gel nails on at the moment, but when you're trying to grab something, even though your nails are long, it's not the easiest thing to be able to do. And I really struggle with it sometimes, so I do apologise. Now that's our stock, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use our little sort of measuring jug that I mentioned earlier, and half a pint isn't too much, to be honest. It's only about half a pint, let me see. Yeah, so it's about 275 mils or so of stock. So I boiled our kettle. It's still quite hot, but let's just get that done. There we go. What's this? Now, as I said earlier, I might need to alter the consistency of the soup as I go on, but of course I won't know what that's going to be like until I have the end result, I suppose. So now we're going to add in our third ingredient. So of course we've got our carrots, we've got our stock pot, our vegetable stock pot, and also baked beans. So we'll just add that in. Just make sure we've got them all. Yep, we do. Always find the sauce in the sort of cheaper brands of beans is much looser. It's much sort of less luxurious if you like, but I actually don't mind the cheaper beans. I genuinely do like them, and they're actually less calories often than the more expensive brands as well. And now we're going to add in our 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. So that's 1 and 2. There we go. Pop these out of the way. And our pickled onions now. Oh, that's it. So I think probably just 1, 2. Do I do 2? I do 3. I'm not sure. I'm going to go for 3. I'm going to be brave. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just pop this on to heat and make sure that the carrots are all cooked, really, because that's the only item, as I said earlier, that still needs a bit of cooking, but the slices are pretty thin, so they shouldn't take too long, and hopefully by then the flavours will all be sort of combined. I will do a little bit of a taste test on it before I blend it, and I'll probably add in some pepper as well, just to, you know, my preference, my own personal taste. And of course I'll blend it up, so I'll let you see what that looks like at the end. Okay, so our soup is ready. It's now on a very, very low heat. As you can see, it's still bubbling away furiously in there, even on a low heat. To be honest, it has reduced a little bit, as you can see with the line, from where it was originally down to here, if you can see that. So it has gone down a little bit, but to be honest, I think I'm not going to add any extra stock at this point. I think I'm going to blitz it up with the blender, and then I'll see how it turns out. And if I do want it a little bit thinner in consistency, then of course I will do that. But I'd be quite interested to try just to see how it turns out without adding anything different into it with regards to the volume of liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop it off the heat. There we go. And it's still bubbling away. And I will let that cool a bit before I blend it, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay guys, so we have finished our soup. I've blended it up, and to be honest, it is a little bit of a thicker consistency than I would probably normally make, but I actually think it suits the type of soup, if that makes sense. I've just noticed I've got splashes all up my splashback from blending, but anyway, I'll clean that up later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of a try. I'll just show you the sort of consistency. So it's quite sort of creamy, it's quite sort of luxurious, I would say. I did add in a little bit of pepper to it, just for personal taste, as I mentioned earlier, so I will just have a little try of this at the moment, and I'll give it the thumbs up so you know if it's worth trying. Do you know what? That is absolutely lovely. It's much nicer than I thought. I was a bit dubious about adding in the pickled onions, but I think 3 sort of Sainsbury's pickled onion sized pickles has turned out absolutely fine. There's a nice tang to the sauce, to the soup, sorry. And what I would also say is if you do like pepper, add a little bit in. I didn't put too much in, but I think you could easily overpower it if you added more pepper in by accident, for example. Obviously it's meant to be a speedy tomato soup, which it has been. It's been very quick to make, even quicker if you don't have, if you have tinned carrots, because obviously they're already cooked. The one thing I would say is that, as I said, I personally wouldn't add any more stock to it, but if you are wanting to spread it out a little bit, if you're wanting to share it, or if you're wanting to freeze it, it might be best to add a little bit of more water or stock to it before you freeze it. Just to make it go that little bit further, and probably to improve its consistency once it's been defrosted, as it is, as you can see, quite a thick soup already. But really pleased with the result. I think it tastes good. It doesn't taste like Heinz tomato soup, to be honest, but it does taste good, and that's all we need. Again, this is completely sin-free. There are no sins attached to this, and even our little Tesco vegetable stock pots are also free as well. So you can be rest assured that this will help your weight loss. It will help you keep on track, and it will help you keep nice and full and warm on the autumnal cool days that are coming up very, very soon. So thank you so much for watching as always, and I hope this has been useful, and I shall catch you on the next video. So take care. Bye.